Hello there, you're now with me, Yume Sriani, and this is your 5 p.m. English news on TVS. Now, let's get on with the topics for today. Sarawak Chief Minister Datuk Patinggi Abang Johari Tun Openg today confirmed dissolution of the Sarawak State Assembly or DUN to make way for the 12th state election to be held within a 60-day period. During a media conference held at Wisma Bapa Malaysia this morning, Abang Johari said DUN Speaker Dato' Amar Muhammad Asfiya Awang Nasar would inform the Election Commission or EC officially on the matter.
Commenting further, Abang Johari said an election is necessary to get the people's mandate to form a new state government. As such, the PRN should be held to guarantee the right of the people of Sarawak to elect a government democratically in accordance with the practice of parliamentary democracy. However, the chairman of Gabungan Party Sarawak, GPS, said they were not in a hurry to hold an election as public health remains a top priority.
In order to hold true to our oath to preserve and protect the Constitution of the State of Sarawak and the Federal Constitution and safeguard the rights of the people to choose their own government, the GPS government feels that it would be a betrayal to that oath if the GPS government were to hang on to power under the veil of a state of emergency, whereas the people's mandate to govern had expired. Despite this, we also realize that the health and safety of the people of Sarawak is paramount. Therefore, in coming to this decision, we have had careful and constant engagement with the health authorities and other stakeholders in order for the election to be held with all the necessary standard operating procedures SOP in place, and the rates of COVID vaccination has achieved a level which would be acceptable by the authorities for the election to be conducted safely.
The media conference was also attended by a lineup of leaders from each component party of Gabungan Party Sarawak, namely Pusaka Bumiputra Bersatu (PBB), Parti Rakyat Sarawak (PRS), Parti Rakyat Bersatu Sarawak (SUPP), and Parti Democratic Progressive (PDP).
Gabungan Party Sarawak GPS has already identified and discussed the allocation of seats amongst its 4 component parties for the upcoming Sarawak state election. However, GPS Chairman Datuk Patinggi Abang Johari Tun Openg said it was still too early to reveal the coalition's list of candidates and that he would do so later.
You see all of us here?
When is going to be announced?
Tunggu loh, baru jadi so. Jangan rush gila, ada orang kata don't rush. No, we don't rush.
On October 24th, GPS Secretary General Datuk Sri Alexander Nanta Linggi said GPS will contest in all 82 seats in the next state election. GPS comprises Parti Pusaka Bumiputra Bersatu (PBB), Parti Rakyat Sarawak (PRS), Sarawak United People's Party (SUPP), and Progressive Democratic Party (PDP). Meanwhile, Abang Johari said the current GPS government is currently assuming the role of a caretaker government until the next government comes in. He added that GPS could not make any major decisions and must only run the state as it is.
Parti Pusaka Bumiputra Bersatu, PBB grassroots leaders and supporters have been told to get ready and make their preparations for the upcoming 12th state election. Its Deputy President, Dato' Amar Douglas Ugamba, said the election will present new challenges.
Uga, who is also Sarawak Deputy Chief Minister, said this was because it would be held as the state is still battling COVID-19 pandemic. Therefore, he said there would be a number of restrictions in place, unlike previous elections, such as no mass gatherings for campaigning purposes. On the election front, UGA said the standard operating procedures would be decided by the Health Ministry and the Election Commission. UGA, who is Bukit Saban incumbent, said he believed the voters in Saribas would again make the right decision in this election, noting that the people in Saribas have always been very supportive of the government in past elections.
The long wait for Muslim community in Daro to have their own mosque in the area is finally over, as the construction of the Al Muhsinin Mosque in Daro has at last been completed. The mosque, which cost 9.5 million ringgit, can accommodate up to 1,635 people at a time and will be a unification icon to bring the community in Daro closer.
Sarawak Governor Yang di-Pertua Negeri Sarawak Tun Pehin Sri Abdul Taib Mahmud officiated the mosque and performed the congregational Friday prayer with the residents in Daro. Tun Taib's arrival was welcomed by Daro incumbent Safi Ahmad, Igan Member of Parliament Ahmad Johnny Zawawi, and Kuala Rajang incumbent Datu Len Talif Saleh. Also present at the officiating ceremony was Chief Minister Dato' Patinggi Abang Johari Tun Openg, Assistant Minister of Infrastructure and Ports Development Dato' Julaihi Narawi, Assistant Minister of Corporate Affairs and Sarawak Public Communication Unit Dato' Abdullah Saidol, Tanjung Manis Member of Parliament Yusuf Abdul Wahab, and other guests of honour. The mosque is equipped with a variety of modern equipment, including a lecture room that can accommodate 142 people, a mortuary, a dining hall, and an office. The construction of the mosque began 2 years ago, where the groundbreaking ceremony took place in April 2019.
Ket Surang mengalami kecelakaan yang mengakibatkan dirinya kembali ke era sekitar 300 tahun lalu. Namun dirinya bertukar tubuh sebagai Karaket, seorang wanita jahat yang terkenal. Saksikan kesudahannya dalam Love Destiny setiap Isnin hingga Khamis 8.45 malam hanya di TVS saluran 122 Astro dan MyTV. Kerajaan Negeri Sarawak di bawah kepimpinan Yang Amat Berhormat Datuk Patinggi Abang Johari Tun Openg sentiasa komited dalam memastikan setiap penduduk mempunyai bekalan air bersih 24 jam menjelang 2025. Peruntukan sebanyak 107 juta ringgit telah disalurkan bagi melaksanakan projek bekalan air daerah Kabong Pakej 1. Pelaksanaan projek ini mampu menaik taraf sistem bekalan air sedia ada untuk 5,713 isi rumah. Ia dibiayai sepenuhnya oleh kerajaan negeri melalui Kementerian Utiliti Sarawak dan Jabatan Bekalan Air Luar Bandar Sarawak sebagai agensi pelaksana. Dengan sistem yang dinaik taraf ini, penduduk setempat dapat menjalankan kegiatan harian yang memerlukan kemudahan bekalan air 24 jam.
And now we're back. Malaysia is on track to revive its economy in 2022 through an expansionary budget announced last Friday. According to Finance Minister Tengku Datuk Sri Zafrul Abdul Aziz, the government has planned to minimise the economic scarring brought about by the COVID-19 pandemic, bringing the economic growth to a medium-term trajectory.
Tengku Zafrul stated that his ministry's main focus is to make sure that the economic scarring is minimised and the economic growth returns to its medium-term trajectory. He said in terms of funding the debt, the ministry have enough liquidity in the market with the involvement of a diverse investors base which would be able to raise the debts or bonds required domestically. Under the largest ever budget worth 332.1 billion ringgit, the government has introduced tax proposals under Budget 2022, including the prosperity tax, a review of real property gain tax, as well as imposition of service tax on delivery services to boost its coffers. He also brushed aside the perception that the introduction of the prosperity tax might not be a business-friendly move, saying that the market would somewhat adjust to the announcement. Meanwhile, the government is very bullish on the economy in 2022, driven by strong economic performance next year with estimated growth of between 5.5% and 6.5%. Tengku Zafrul said Malaysia's fiscal and monetary policy were still accommodative, and the government is looking to reduce the fiscal deficit to 6% of gross domestic product in 2022 from 6.5% this year.
Indonesia has set the year 2024 as the deadline to move its capital from Jakarta to Kalimantan amid delays caused by the pandemic.
In a draft bill submitted last September, it specified that the president, with support from the parliament, gets to choose who governs the capital, eliminating the need for an election. The bill is expected to be passed into law by Parliament this year, allowing the $34 billion project to proceed before the 2024 presidential election. The move can help President Joko Widodo secure his legacy in his last presidential tenure. Jokowi reasoned that the relocation will help spread economic activities outside of Java Island and narrow the income gap with the rest of the country. Jokowi also deemed the move necessary, as Jakarta is currently suffering from severe traffic congestion, frequent flooding, and unhealthy air pollution. Home to over 10 million people, Jakarta is also sinking fast, with 2/5 of the area falling below sea level and some parts of submerging at a rate of 20 centimeters a year. However, not everyone agrees with the move after it sparked a debate regarding environmental issues like deforestation. Indonesia, which has been contemplating the move for decades, would be the third country in Southeast Asia to relocate their capital cities after Malaysia and Myanmar.
Britain on Thursday became the first country in the world to approve a potentially game-changing COVID-19 antiviral pill developed by Merck and Ridgeback Biotherapeutics. In October, Britain agreed a deal with Merck to secure 480,000 courses of the pills.
The Medicines and Healthcare Products Regulatory Agency recommended the drug molnupiravir be used as soon as possible following a positive COVID-19 test and within 5 days of the onset of the symptoms. This is the first oral antiviral treatment for COVID-19 to get approved, with a green light coming ahead of potential U.S. clearance. U.S. advisors will meet this month to vote on whether molnupiravir should be authorized. To be branded Lagavrio in Britain, the drug has been closely watched since data last month showed it could have the chances of dying or being hospitalized for those most at risk. The British government and the country's National Health Service will confirm how the treatment will be deployed to patients in due course. In a separate statement, Merck said it was expecting to produce 10 million courses of the treatment by end of this year, with at least 20 million set to be manufactured in 2022.
And that wraps up the 5 p.m. English news for today. Be sure to tune in to For the Nightline with Douglas Elliott at 11:30 p.m. Once again, I'm Yumes Reni, and it has been a pleasure.